This is a video on when to create a mini lecture, or as I like to call it, a lecturette. So what is a mini lecture, lecturette? It's a short one-way presentation that emphasizes mainly information and or comprehension skills, and it's usually on a specific topic or hard concept that isn't sufficiently explained or found in any other materials or in your textbook. It's usually under 15 minutes, recommended under 10, and in some articles say even as little as 6 minutes has been the researched amount of time that you want to keep your mini lectures down to, but that is very difficult. And it must align to course objectives or the students won't be invested in it or watch it, so you're going to need to assess it in some way. Why or when to create a mini lecture or lecturette? We just talked about it a little bit, either a difficult topic or something you need to clarify. A big one is something in your face-to-face course that only your experience or your special expertise can portray. So maybe you're in a sociology class and you're talking about how you dealt with your children or a certain instance that ties into that particular topic that you're studying. Or maybe you have special expertise in a particular area of research and you want to share that with your students. It's also great to solve problems such as in math, chemistry, or statistics. Or there's just no videos out there that can be used. There's so many simulations and open educational resources out there that if you can't find anything on exactly what you need, then that would be another reason why you would want to create your own mini lecturette. If you don't find anything on TED-Ed or YouTube or Khan Academy, NBC Learn, there's just a myriad of places now that you can find simulations and all sorts of things. But if you can't, then that would be a reason to create one. Students have shorter attention spans. We know that. The research has proven that. They also have different learning styles now. So students can use these for better study and repetition where they need it. So they don't have to listen to a long 45-minute lecture to get the specific information that they need. They can go to that particular topic, listen to it over and over again, rather than having to sort through a long 45-minute lecture. There's been some research done, and one interesting article on lecture capture is from R. Phillips, and it was conducted in 2010. And he came up with 5 different categories of video usage and students' behavior. And there were the conscientious ones that watched all your videos when they were supposed to in a consistent manner. Then there were the crammers, of course, who only are watching things at the very last minute, so that's why these chunk topics can be helpful, because those crammers are going to want to get right in there and go directly to your content and are going to get very frustrated if they have to sit and scroll through, minutes after minutes of a long lecture to get to the parts that they didn't maybe understand from some of your resources, articles, or your textbooks. There are the good intentioned students. They mean well, but they just kind of drop off. Maybe they get behind, they start off well, and then fall off the wayside. There's the repentant students, and then we have the bingers. So just like we all do things at certain times, the bingers are going to watch all at once and then not for a while and then watch a bunch at a time. So those were the 5 different categories, which is a really interesting article. It goes into their behaviors and the importance of mini lectures. So here's what some of the students said that was interesting from that research, is that it supported their learning styles and differences. So they liked having visuals, they liked having audio, and they liked having difficult concepts that they could watch over and over again. They even said it improved their grades because now they had something they could go back to. They didn't just have to rely on their notes. They could watch something over and over again. Especially like problem solving. It's very hard to take notes when an instructor's solving a chemical equation or doing a statistics problem up on the board. And if you can watch them do this on video, then you can watch it over and over again and pause the video in places that you want to try or that you have difficulties in. So students had a lot to say about it, and they appreciate it when mini lectures are chunked out and that instructors just don't slap up their 45-minute face-to-face lectures. So how do you go about creating one? There's a lot of different technologies that you can use, and it just depends on what your campus supports, what licenses they have. We have a CSU-wide license for TechSmith Studio, which used to be Camtasia now. SoftChalk is something that your campus can get a license for. Then you can just use regular YouTube. YouTube has a great editing piece now, so just get your iPad, your phone out, video yourself, upload it to YouTube, and away you go. They even do some minimal captioning. It's not the best, but it's at least a little something. There's Doceri or EduCreations. If you have an iPad or a tablet, it'll allow you to write. So if you're teaching chemistry or statistics or math, these apps are extremely easy to use. You simply hit play, you take your stylus, you solve the equation, it records it, you're done, and then students have that to watch over and over again, just like you would in class. And there's many more. Just check with your institution on which technologies they support. So there's many examples we have here. This PowerPoint will be available in class, so I'm going to kind of skim through these and you can go back and watch them at your leisure. We do have a page with sample welcome video links from many instructors. Also remember, we have our repository. And the Quote repository in Section 6 has several different examples, one being of SDSU's Learning Glass that they use to do a statistical type problem. That's extremely helpful, and I highly recommend you look at Section 6 in our repository when you get a chance. Here's an example of 3D modeling. You may be asking, well, in class or in a lab, I used to have 3D models that I showed students and allowed them to look at. Well, they aren't going to be able to get that from reading a text or an article. So in this case, this professor used a program called Camtasia Relay, which just allows her to record her voice, and then the video, instead of putting it on herself, she put it on her objects. And so instead of recording her face, she would actually pick these up and show students just like she would in the lab. And so they really got that 3D visual along with her two-dimensional PowerPoints, which was really helpful. We talked about solving problems. Here's YouTube. Many institutions have their own YouTube channel, so you can talk to your instructional developers or your media team on whether your campus has their own. If not, you can create your own account and upload your lectures to YouTube. And it'll take you right there. Here's one using Camtasia Studio. It's not that hard to use, and it allows you to embed quizzes and questions as checkpoints, and it gets emailed to you, so you can even check for students learning or if they're watching. And they would click on a right answer, and you can even do branching. So if they click a wrong answer, it'll tell them they're wrong and send them back. If they get it right, it will say they're right, and you can put whatever you want in there, and then they can continue on. So these are just some various technologies, but you're going to want to check with your own institution on which ones you have. And that's it. Thank you.